There we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into a new edition of the Breakaway Bandits podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood here on the Sports Insanity Network. And the best forward line in hockey's back together.
No, it's been a long time.
Dude, you have to speak. I was freaking introducing you. Like, what the hell, man? No, Moser, like with you, gentlemen. How are you? What's going on? Now you can speak. You've been spoken to.
Okay. I'm doing good. What a fun NHL season.
Yeah, no, this has been a crazy good season.
Yeah, totally unbiased answer on my part, by the way. Totally unbiased.
I mean, why you got to be biased?
No, but even taking what we'll eventually get to out of it from my team, really, I'm excited for like these playoffs. We'll obviously get to all the matchups, but like a lot of matchups that could go either way. Great season, a lot of stuff that like was really unexpected. A lot of teams that didn't make it that we could make an argument should have gotten there. And just the fact that like the Atlantic Division came down to the wire, some of the other teams came back to make the playoffs that like we didn't expect. We'll obviously get into all that, but just crazy season, and that's why we do this. That's why we love this. It's a great sport.
Here's the thing: we're at the last night of the regular season, and there are teams who are still playing for something tonight.
Yep.
That's how you know it was a good season.
Is the beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's been it. It's been a crazy season. It's been a fun season to watch, and I'm really excited to talk about this because there are a few teams that I am like I just watched this year and I'm like, man, either like not from a disappointment perspective, but there are some from like you can just tell that something changed this year. But we'll obviously get into all that.
As we mentioned, we'll get into all the series. We have three teams. We know who will be in the playoffs, but this will be determined who they'll play and how it gets done. So the three teams in play here are the Edmonton Oilers, the Los Angeles Kings, and the Anaheim Ducks. Here's how this goes down. If the Oilers will play the Ducks with home ice and the Avs will play the Kings, if the Oilers can get at least 1 point against the Canucks tonight and the Ducks defeat the Predators in any fashion, or if the Predators defeat the Ducks in overtime or a shootout, and if the Flames beat the Kings in any fashion, or if the Predators beat the Ducks in regulation and the Flames beat the Kings in regulation. So that's how you get Oilers-Ducks, with the Oilers as the home team, and the Kings will play the Avs as the second wild card. The Oilers will play the Kings, with the Kings leapfrogging the Ducks, and the Ducks will have to play the Avalanche if the Oilers get at least a point against the Canucks, the Kings defeat the Flames in any fashion, and the Predators defeat the Ducks in any fashion. So the Oilers get a point, the Kings beat the Flames, and the Preds beat the Ducks. Or, no, Google, I know what the word "or" means. If the Flames beat the Kings in overtime or shootout, and if the Preds defeat the Ducks in regulation. So the Kings get a point, Ducks lose. You get Oilers, Kings for like the 8th straight year, it feels like.
Yeah.
And Ducks Avalanche.
Okay.
All right. The Ducks will play the Oilers, and the Avalanche will play the Kings, but the Ducks get home ice against the Oilers if the Ducks beat the Preds in any fashion, and the Canucks defeat the Oilers in regulation, and the Flames beat the Kings in any fashion. So the Ducks, Canucks, and Flames would all have to win. It's not happening because the Canucks are tanking.
Yeah, so more than likely it's going to be Kings, Avs, Oilers, Ducks, with Oilers having home ice.
And here are the other just two scenarios. Ducks Kings can happen with the Oilers then playing the Avs if
Oh wow.
the Ducks beat the Preds in any fashion, the Canucks beat the Oilers in regulation, and the Kings beat the Flames. So the Canucks could knock the Oilers down to a wild card.
Wow.
And then the Kings can hop into second if they beat the Flames, Canucks beat the Oilers, and the Preds beat the Ducks, and the Kings could get home ice against the Oilers. There's a lot of moving parts, but we know the three teams in play for the Colorado Avalanche.
Just wildly different on the matchups that we could get.
Out of all of the
if we got McDavid, McKinnon in round one,
oh my god,
it's crazy.
I kind of want that real bad.
I was gonna say I'll sign up for any because you explained like so many different scenarios, and out of all of that, the only thing I'll sign up for any of those scenarios as long as we don't get Oilers Kings again. Like we need a break from that for a little bit. Like
yeah, right.
I've seen so many other people be like, please, just we no more Oilers Kings. Like
I was gonna say, I think this would be what the fourth year in a row they would have played in the first round.
I thought I heard
4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, some of us need the Kings to kind of win around here, so the Rangers could get a second round pick instead of a third here. Some of us are hoping for that.
Yeah, so come on. Somebody, Canucks.
Don't give me Kings Oilers.
Don't give me Kings Oilers. Like, hey,
the
Canucks.
The most unwatchable thing will be Kings Oilers.
I will say that would be a playoff series where I'd be like, I could kind of.
Well, the only thing that would give the Kings hope is if Draisaitl's still not back.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if you guys caught him eating popcorn the other night.
I did. That was really funny.
Was he just in the press box?
He was in the press box, and they zoomed in on him eating popcorn.
It was quite a sight. It was really funny.
That's nothing compared to when there was a certain Leaf in a press box during the season that they zoomed in on, and we don't have to get.
Shout out to you, William Nylander.
Yikes! Yeah.
So since we started off with the West, we'll just start there because we do know those are the three teams in play. One of them will play the Colorado Avalanche, who are the President's Trophy winners. Nathan McKinnon, who was on a tear all year, led the league in goals, is right up there for the Art Ross, which I think actually is going to go to McDavid again. But, Nate, the thing we've always said about Colorado is we know they score goals. Are the Wood brothers enough in goal for the Avs so they can hoist the Stanley Cup for the second time in 4 years?
It's really hard for me to pick against them. Like, I'm sure there's people that will be like, well, maybe not them, but they were so dominant. How many losses did they have in the first half of the season? It was like in regulation, it was
it took them till
5 or something.
Christmas to get there.
Yeah, they for the longest time, and I'm looking at the team right now, pulling up the roster here, but it just McKinnon obviously was great. Makar when he's healthy and he's doing his thing. Probably would have won the Norris if he wasn't hurt. I know that he's not really. I know he's getting talked about in the Norris too, but but when he's healthy and he's on a roll, he's so unstoppable. It's like what people said about Paul Coffey back with the Oilers during the dynasty years with Gretzky and Messier, is he's almost like another forward on defense, because you could put Makar on forward and he wouldn't miss a beat. I don't know if he might get more goals and more points, but he's so fast, he's so good with the puck. It's like he's a forward on defense essentially. And talking about what they did with the trade deadline and stuff, and they added so much depth to an already insane lineup. Obviously with the goaltending, I mean, I think the goaltendings will be good. I know that, I think if they struggle at all, I just expect the offense to just be on a tear that it won't even matter. Like this reminds me of when, when Kemper was in net when they won the cup, and people, I mean, there were people that said that they won the cup like in spite of Kemper's play. Like this kind of reminds me a little bit of that. Like if they're on their game and they're firing on all cylinders, Martin Necas, I might butcher his name.
Necas.
Yeah. Getting Nicholas Waugh from the Leafs was a great depth add. Obviously Devin Tays, what he can do on the blue line. I mean, it's just, you look and there's just not really a weakness, really. I mean, you can argue, some might argue the goaltending, but like, I just think they got strengths all over the lineup where it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, the Colorado is unbelievably skilled. I mean, you've got them in the most points per game. They are clearly just such a good team, and they are just firing on all cylinders. Nathan McKinnon firing on all cylinders, most goals in the league. Everyone just been playing well. You say, Nate, the goaltending might be the problem, but here's the thing. As a team, the Colorado Avalanche are number one in goals against average at 2.4, and they're number one in save percentage at 0.913. So
right, it's not it's not a weakness. I guess if I had phrased it that way, like it's not a weakness, but like it's probably the weakest thing they have, and it's not like
I think the one thing I would say, the one thing that if you're the Colorado Avalanche, are you a little bit concerned about, because their penalty kill is great, number one in the league. I will say the one thing that might be a concern that, it's not going to be like, oh my God, this is going to kill them. But their power play for some reason this year has just not been firing. It just hasn't been working as well as it used to.
That's just absurd with the amount of talent.
Right. And that's the weird part. By the way,
for the playoffs, it might catch fire. We don't know.
It might catch fire. But if we look at the regular season, they were 27th best in the power play at a 17.4 percentage. So if there would be anything that you would be maybe a little bit worried about, it's like, hey, you want to get the power play going as you get into the playoffs.
And like we said, Nate, you brought up bringing in Nick Waugh from Toronto. Let's not forget they also reunited with Nazem Kadri at the trade deadline, and so now all of a sudden they roll all four lines. We talked about how deadly McKinnon is. By the way, that dude's going to be on a mission because he remembers the open net in the Olympics that he didn't hit.
Yeah,
he's on a tear.
Yeah, and I mean, you had both McKinnon and Necas hit 100 points. Like McKinnon, obviously, had 53 goals, 74 assists for 127 points. And then you look at and that was in 80 games. And then Necas hit in 78 games, 38 goals. So he was almost on a 40 goal pace. He probably would hit 40 if he played all 82. 62 assists. So he still got 100 points.
By the way, Gabe Landeskog's healthy. Nichushkin's there. Like they have a net front.
Brock Nelson had 33 goals this year.
Nobody's talking about Brock Nelson's 33.
I know. It's just quietly has a 30-goal season.
I mean, they're so deep.
And also, shout out Brent Burns too. The fact, I never thought that he was gonna. I thought he was gonna either, I didn't think he was gonna go anywhere else. I thought he was gonna he was either gonna stay in Carolina or retire. And 12 goals, 22 assists. He doesn't have to be the guy. This isn't Sharks Brent Burns or anything like that. But 12 goals and 22 assists when you don't have to be the guy, because there's Devin Tays and Cale Makar and all these other guys. That's.
He's played 1,000 straight games now over that.
Josh Manson too, was on that Cup team a few years ago and is still there and still pretty solid guy.
Yeah, if you are worried that this team can't win the cup again, stop, because they can absolutely win the cup again.
I was gonna
This
say, I
team's
don't say, I
so
don't know
good.
a single Avs fan that's probably worried about that. Like,
Yeah.
Well, listen, they'd have to worry if McDavid was the first round opponent. If it's anyone else, they'll beat the Kings. They'll beat the
should they be
Ducks.
worried if they get the Oilers?
I mean, I would say yes, only because it is Connor McDavid and he can go off.
Right. Okay, but you have McKinnon, who's another one of the best players in the league, and you have, I'd argue, and this could be wrong, I'd argue they got better depth.
Oh, they have much better depth.
They do have much better depth.
Okay, if you're pinning McDavid versus McKinnon, McDavid's the better talent, but there's an argument there.
It's not a huge discrepancy,
Right. And the thing is that I think that because it's close enough between the two,
Mm-hmm.
I just think that the depth matters more here than, like, that's where it matters more because and obviously, I mean, even with Draisaitl, like, if he's back, I still think that the depth, I mean, we all probably think this, I think, but like the depth obviously leans abs, but like,
Yeah.
I just think that makes such a difference because if you even are able to try to stop McKinnon, there's Netchis, there's Kadri and Nelson and Makar, and there's only so many guys you can smother. And it's easier to smother the oil. Well, to an extent, it's McDavid, and you can't really smother McDavid, but
you can bear hug him. You'll
yeah.
get close for him.
But I guess what I'm saying is, like, if it's tied with the Stars here, depth I feel like would prevail over in that instance.
So my point was this: I think out of the three, the Oilers would be the one I'm most worried about.
Right.
As much as I love Anaheim and I love what the Ducks have done and what they're becoming, they just have never been in the playoffs.
But goaltending is such a question mark for Edmonton too.
Oh, are you Tristan Jarry? I mean, that dude.
That's why I wouldn't be worried either if I pulled Edmonton if I'm the Avs, because like.
And I want to see what Edmonton does this year in the playoffs, because the last couple of years when they made that cup final run, there was an important piece that's not there anymore. That's Evander Kane.
Yep.
Like I know his off ice stuff isn't great, but he scored big goals in the playoffs. He could change the tide in the playoffs with a big hit.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that guy this year.
They don't. So
they're getting Hyman back tonight. That we don't know the Draisaitl situation. I still don't love the Edmonton blue line, although there are people saying out there Evan Bouchard should be in the Norris conversation. I still don't like Darnell Nurse and his contract. And outside of that, you're right. Colorado shouldn't fear them. But because it's McDavid, we know what he can do single-handedly.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, I know you're going to hate this, Nate, but it's kind of like, talk about NFL for a minute. It's like, I don't care where they are. If the Chiefs are in the playoffs, they're dangerous because of one guy.
Shout out Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like football is a little bit more one person centric. I mean, I get what you're saying, but yeah, no, I do understand the comp. Like in that instance, I just feel like football is a little bit more like that's more quarterback centric. Like, well, that's it's one player centric. Where like you can argue like McDavid would be like their Mahomes, but also like. I don't know. It's not because other people will also say like, well, like quarterback would be like goalie. So like it gets that.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying though.
Even to go baseball, you can say McDavid is Shohei Ohtani, and go the rest of the Oilers is the Dodgers. So we're gonna all in agreement. No matter who the Avs play, they're gonna win.
No matter who the Avs play, I'm going Avs.
Okay. Yeah, same.
Okay, so. Let's just say it's the Kings because that's how it lines up now. And then the Ducks and the Oilers would play in that 2-3. Where would we lean on that?
I think this one. I think if we're going to say this is Oilers Ducks, You're right, Mike. I love what Anaheim has done this year. I love what they're building there. There's not a true like I don't think there's like a true like star on this team yet, but the team itself is so good. Leo Carlson, Troy Terry is still playing really well. Chris Kreider. I think as good as I like this team, I think I'd have to go Oilers for the reasons we just talked about. Why they would be the biggest threat to Colorado if they were to play them at this point.
So we're doing Oilers Ducks, right? That's what
It would be Oilers Ducks season.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go Oilers too. I think obviously McDavid and I think just the experience they have, like Bouchard obviously has had a great year, as we previously mentioned in the Norris conversation. I think the experience of going to 2 cup finals, like that's just gonna be, Anaheim's a young team, and like I think they're going to, if they play Edmonton, they're gonna get some good experience. But I just think that Edmonton with the 2 cup finals, in recent memory, and a good chunk of those players have that experience. Most of that team has that experience. I just think that's going to matter. Yeah. But I think Anaheim might be able to get like a game or two. I think
best case scenario for Anaheim, it's a 4-2 series loss.
Yeah.
But I just want to give, I know you'll probably do it here in a second, Mike, but let's give Anaheim some flowers because they have had a big surprise. They've been one of the biggest surprises this year. And them getting in the playoffs this year, fantastic job there in Anaheim.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very critical of Pat Verbeek, who just got a contract extension. But listen, he pushed the right buttons this year. They hired Joel Quenneville, be the coach. Trouba comes over. Kreider comes over. They've had an impact. Gets Johnny Carlson at the trade deadline. I don't think enough people talked about that one. And then those young players.
Cutter Gauthier had 40 goals.
Right. Like we're not. Cutter Gauthier took a step. Leo Carlson took a step. That is what's important here in Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be the one who says it. If they get the Oilers, you talk about the Oiler goaltend. Like, yeah, you got to stop McDavid, but the Oiler goalie needs to stop a puck. And
yeah,
that might be an issue. I wouldn't be surprised if Anaheim pulled off an upset. Joel Quenneville is one of the greatest coaches of all time, and arguably the best in our lifetime.
Yeah, their biggest issue is just they don't have that guy that can take over a game when it comes down to crunch time to me.
Right. You need more from Carlson and Gauthier. But again, if they don't, it's a great experience.
Well, and the thing too is a move that happened at the trade deadline that like nobody expected was John Carlson going from the Caps to the Ducks, and just, being a veteran, winning a cup, that's going to be such good experience for guys like Jackson Lacombe. And I mean they already had like guys like Trouba like already there, but like Zellweger and for like some of these other younger like defensemen, and just really the locker room in general. Gauthier, I mean, these guys, Michael Granlund's another one who's been around the league, and has had playoff experience. These are all guys that are going to be able to help guys like Gauthier and Leo Carlson, in these playoffs. And I think having, Verbeek deserves his flowers for getting some nice veterans around these guys. And I think that's going to be really helpful as they, get into their first playoff series in a while.
And the Great Wall of Dostal, he had a pretty solid year. His first year as a starter.
Right.
Because he backed up Gibson all those years. All right. So we talked about the Avs. We got to fast forward to what could potentially be the real Western Conference final, which would be in the second round. Because the Avs, if they move on, will play the winner of my second favorite series of the first round. The Wild and the Stars.
This is going to be fun.
The 2-3 seed are the two second and third best teams in the NHL. And one of them's going out in the first round.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It is.
Nate, the biggest winner of the series might be the Minnesota North Stars.
Yeah. You get the best of both worlds there.
I think they split the season series 2-2.
Of course they did, because this set needs to be even more of a coin flip than it already was.
Yeah, holy crap.
We knew that these two teams were going to be playing each other in like December.
The Avs got off to such a great start. We knew this one.
Yeah. We knew this one. This truly is a toss-up here. Oh, God. I'm looking at both rosters, and I'm just like, oh, my God, who do I pick here? Who do I pick?
Minnesota took the swing of the season when they traded for Quinn Hughes for essentially 4 first-round picks.
What a great pickup. Well, I mean, like, adding him, a guy who, is constantly going to be in the Norris conversation the rest of his career, adding him to a lineup that already has Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Boldy, Zuccarello, Eriksson Ek, Brock Faber on the blue line, Tarasenko's on this team too. Like, it's
incredible. It's just like you look at this matchup and you're like, this is playoff hockey. This is what playoff hockey was made for. This is what it's going to be. Because, Nate, you talked about Minnesota, but I mean, let's just talk about Dallas. Jason Robertson's had another great year, almost 100 points. Wyatt Johnston's had a great year. You got Mikko Rantanen, Miro Heiskanen, Matt Duchene. Goaltending, Ottinger's had another really good season. Casey DeSmith has been one of the best backups in the league this year. And, damn, this is so tough.
By the way, Maverick Bourque hit 20 goals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thomas Harley, the Harley Davidson of the Dallas Stars, has been awesome. And by the way, no, you brought up Wyatt Johnston. Wyatt Johnston was I don't know if he was, I don't remember if he was second round pick, third round, but this dude is a monster.
Yeah. So good.
I mean,
he is so good.
He's great with the man advantage. He's great at 5-on-5. I mean, Jamie Benn could still produce for this team. I mean, Dallas, they're both so good. Now, Dallas will be down Rupe Hintz at least the first 2 games it's been announced, but I mean,
you still have some like just some veteran leaders on this team.
They're so loaded.
But also Minnesota's loaded too.
Oh, I know. Listen, I don't love the guy, but Bill Guerin should be GM of the year just before the Quinn Hughes trade alone.
Yeah, the Quinn Hughes trade was massive.
And then, by the way, he gets Nick Foligno at the trade deadline to pair up with his brother Marcus Foligno.
Yep.
And I talked about the goaltending for Dallas. Both the goaltenders for Minnesota, Gustafsson and Wallstead, they both had really good seasons.
Yeah, they don't miss they may miss Marc-Andre Fleury, but
comparing both stats of both teams, I look at Dallas and it's like, oh, they have two guys that got 45 goals, in Jason Robertson and Wyatt Johnston. Look over to the Wild page. Oh, well, hey, look, they've got 2 40-goal scorers with Kaprizov with 45 and Boldy with 42.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. It's insane.
And you've got the veteran leadership of Tarasenko, Ryan Hartman. All right, I'm going to be the first one to say it. I'm going to pick the Minnesota Wild to win in 7.
Okay. Noah's got the Wild at 7. Nate?
I'm definitely I mean, the easiest part of this decision is that it's going 7. That's the easy part of this whole. I wanted to take the Wild too, And now I feel like I'm starting to lean towards Dallas, looking at their stats compared to the Wild. And I mean, it really is a coin toss. I think for me, the edge of why I'm going to go with Dallas in 7 is Ottinger. What are we going to get from the goaltending from the Wild? Because the Wild goaltending is going to be the X factor. I mean, I guess goaltending in general for both these teams is going to be the X factor. I mean, Ottinger has a reputation of how good he is. I mean, 35 wins, 35, 12, and 6. He's got a goals against average of 2.59 this season, save percentage of 899. In 54 games all started. I just think when you look at the Wild, it's Philip Gustafson's got to carry the load here. He's gonna need to at least match Ottinger in net. And that's if he's gonna, and the one interesting thing with the Wild is you look at games started and it's very close to being split down the middle. Because Gustafson started 49 games and Wallstead started 33. So it's one of those things where you have Gustafson, you've got the young kid waiting in the wings in Wallstead. I imagine they're going to go Gustafson for this. I would just I think he playoff experience there. Wallstead's still young, but whatever they do, they got to at least match Ottinger in net, and I think that's going to be. I think Ottinger is going to potentially be the X factor that's going to make a difference here. So I've got Dallas in 7.
I've got Dallas in 7 too. Dallas was my preseason pick to get to the Cup final. I'm not turning away, and I just think the depth of Dallas. I just told you Maverick Bourque hit 20 goals. Yep. Jamie Benn might be playing third line minutes now. I mean, he still is an effective hockey player. Boldy and Kaprizov are great, and Lord help me, Quinn Hughes might go on a tear in the series too. But I there's something about Dallas where I feel like most of this year the mission is we have to get back to the Western Conference Final.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of unfinished business. And I think this will be the most entertaining of the series. It's my second favorite one of the first round.
And like you said, Mike, either of these teams playing the Avs, yes, please.
Yeah, cinema.
Yep.
What's the meme? Absolute cinema.
Yeah.
Cue it up.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
All right, so that's the Central. The Pacific we previewed before, but we do have the 1-4, which is the Vegas Golden Knights. Have won the division for the 5th time in their franchise's history. And they will play the Utah Mammoth in their second year of existence. The Mammoth are a wild card.
What a year for the Mammoth. What a year for the Mammoth.
Listen, the Mammoth are young. They are fun. They're exciting. And listen, I know I might upset people on social media, and that's really cool with me. I know everyone, and Nate might get on me too. I know Lindy Ruff is the popular pick for Jack Adams, but we got to have a conversation here with Andre Turney because the Mammoth deserves some conversation here.
He definitely deserves conversation. I feel like I haven't really heard his name brought up, but like obviously Lindy's
upsets me.
But I mean, Lindy's obviously going to get consideration for what he's done. Dan Muse has been getting a lot of talk about winning this because of what he's done with Pittsburgh. I've seen the arguments for both sides for him winning it as well as not winning it for the Penguins. Obviously John Cooper, and we can get into that whole thing with John Cooper. But that seems the Cooper conversation seems a little like DiCaprio when he won for the Reverend, where it's like, well, he hasn't won one before, so he needs to win one now. It's like that's no, he'll definitely be able to win one sometime, but we're jumping, we're cutting things a little bit down the road here. We'll go back to Utah. He definitely deserves, to be in that conversation. As we talked before, like we even like started to record and do the live stream here, like they've had such a quiet, successful season.
Yeah.
Clayton Keller's been on a tear for them. 86 points with 26 goals, 60 assists. I mean, he's been everything that they've wanted him to be. I mean, he was great when he was in Arizona, and now he's just crushing it in Utah as we expected. Nick Schmaltz, 33 goals, 41 assists for 74 points. Sergachev having a 59-point season, 10 goals, 49 assists. We kind of expect that out of him. I mean, he was so good in Tampa, and now he's doing so well with Utah. JJ Peterka has been a nice fit for them. 25 goals, 21 assists for 46 points. And then I also want to give a shout out for Logan Cooley. He was such a slam dunk pick for them at the time when he was selected. 24 goals, 43 points in 53 games. He's another guy who's going to be an absolute staple for that offense, for years and years to come. Only going to get better when he hits his prime.
And Vejmelka, he started the most games of any goalie in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude's been outrageous. Now, flip side to Vegas, they've been red hot since they brought in, wait for it, John Tortorella.
Yeah,
coach.
That was crazy news when they relieved. Oh my God, why am
Bruce
I blanking
Cassidy.
Bruce Cassidy, and they're like, "Yep, we're relieving Bruce Cassidy of his role, and George Tortorella is stepping up." It's like, and they did this like 4 weeks ago. It was like, what? Oh,
yeah,
you're 8 games left.
Yeah, it's like you're in the playoffs. You're winning the division. Okay.
Yeah, we haven't seen that since I think Lou Lamoriello did it multiple times.
And then it became a trend.
It was crazy. It was weird.
Yeah,
it was weird.
I mean, I can't fault Lou for doing it a second time because he won a cup the first time he did it. So, like,
yeah,
I it's a ballsy move, but like when it works, I mean, if it works, it works. And I mean,
but it's got to work.
Yeah, well, and every single time that Torts has been interviewed, he's like, I'm not really doing anything. Like, this is such a good team. Like, he goes, I'll step in if I need to, but like, basically, I'm kind of just letting them do what they've been doing. They have a system already in place. So, I think he was brought in because I think the work ethic was questioned a little bit. I know there were Vegas fans who weren't happy with Eichel when he came back after the Olympics. Felt like maybe like he wasn't playing the same as he had been.
Not like he spent 2 weeks playing overseas.
Well,
right?
I know, but look, I'm just telling you what.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about people.
Yeah, there were Vegas fans who weren't happy with his play coming back from the Olympics. Did anyone really? Were people upset about how Marner's been playing?
I think
I know he's not. I know he dipped in production from what he was doing.
I think there was more like Canadian outlets wanted to make it seem like Marner's not doing what they're paying him to do. I don't think that was really a Vegas thing.
I mean, one thing I will say for Vegas, the Rasmus Anderson trade has been disappointing. And I know Anderson. I mean, we've known for like a year now, probably a little more than a year, that Anderson was leaving Calgary and he was eventually going to go to Vegas. Like he made that known. Like, I want to go to Vegas. I will not accept a trade anywhere else other than Vegas. And it's just like, but now he wants to be there. And if you're Vegas, do you want to re-sign him? Like,
I don't know, because 33 games, 17 points, 10 assists, 7 goals. Like,
what's the plus minus?
Minus 14.
Okay, I know people hate plus minus as a stat. Minus 14 is not good.
Yeah, it's plus minus for me is like, if it's like, well, he was total -1 or he was like a +2, it's like, okay, Like we don't need to. If you're
double digits,
if you're double digits in the minus, like that you can't just pretend that's not like a point.
that's a problem.
Yeah.
And here's my other issue with Vegas. Yeah, you go out and get Rasmus Anderson. Yeah, you get Mitch Marner. Yeah, we've got Jack Eichel. You've got 4 guys playing a goal, and none of them are any good at it.
Yeah.
Who's starting game 1? Akira Schmid? Carter Hart? Who's playing game 1?
Aiden Hill?
I mean, the ghost of Marc-Andre Fleury in Vegas?
I
mean, they did stab him in the back.
that's
my issue with Vegas. That's the one major issue I have with Vegas entering the playoffs. I don't trust the goaltender.
I don't either.
Do we think who do we think is going to start?
I think it's Carter Hart.
That's what I mean.
Look,
he's 11-3-3. So
I think he's gotten the ball more once Torts came in.
Yeah.
And I think there's a familiarity and a comfortability with that.
Yeah.
And I again though, I don't trust him. I don't know if they'll bite him here in the first round. I think they get by the Mammoth. I think they win in 6. But going forward, I don't love their goaltending.
Yeah, I wonder how much of a problem it's going to be.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You know, Mike, you just said that. Oh, you don't think they're gonna? You think they'll go by the Mammoth? I don't think they will. I think we're looking at a first round exit here.
Oh.
I think we're looking at a massive upset because.
Wait, no. Bad job, terrible job on your part. It's Mammoth upset.
Mammoth upset, yes.
Come on, brother.
Sorry, my bad.
You me.
I'm sorry. We're looking at a Mammoth upset here. I really do. You not being able to trust a goaltender going into the playoffs is the worst possible thing you could not trust.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just talking about the Colorado Avalanche, a team that had a couple 100-point scores, and even we were not overly, but mildly concerned about the goaltending. Like, if you can't trust the goaltending, that's a big problem. I really can't trust the Golden Knights goaltending. I think they got very lucky that they somehow won this division. I'm going Mammoth in 6. I think this is a complete utter collapse by the Golden Knights.
That will lead to the question: does John Tortorella come back next year?
I don't think he does.
No, I'm just saying if they lose, Nate, you don't have to answer it now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
if you want to, you can, but
let's wait and see. Like here, I'm also going to go Mammoth in this.
Ooh, okay.
I didn't think I was going to. I thought like, oh, Vegas will like figure it out, but like, yeah, that goaltending situation is not great. And like, I counted, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players on Utah that have at least 20 goals. It's Gunther had 40, which we didn't even mention his name yet.
Yeah.
Well,
Schmaltz
he's busy. He's going to be doing WrestleMania this week.
the same weekend. Schmaltz
also in Vegas.
Yeah. What a time to have 2 lives. Schmaltz with 33 goals, Keller with 26, Peterka 25, Cooley 24, Lawson Krause 23. And if you even want to go outside the top 6, Michael Carson had 15. That's like 7 guys. That's, I just, yeah, man. I mean, Vegas is going to need Eichel and Marner to be ready to go, and Mark Stone in that, because like if the goaltending's not up to snuff, it's I think Vegas can probably get a win or 2, but yeah, I'll go Utah in 6.
I think you just said a really important key though. It's imperative for guys like Eichel and Stone to not start this series slow.
Yeah.
So, and here's a thing that I'm gonna say here about Jack. I mean, and it can be said about, Marner and Stone, I guess. But like one thing about Eichel is since he's left the Sabres and gone to Vegas, is he's become like a lot more of like a defensive forward. I think he's gotten Selke votes like prior to this season, and
he's also a very good big game player.
For sure. And like he has not, like, his career high, I think, in goals is still like when he was with the Sabres. Like he was more of a shooter than like an assist guy. And now he constantly gets like 60 assists ever since he has not hit his career past his career high that with goals than since he's been with Vegas that he had with the Sabres, I believe in 2019, 2020. And he's got to shoot more in this series. He's got to shoot more.
Jack, you got to let it rip.
27 goals this year.
And Marner's got to shoot more. And Stone, I mean, Stone almost had 30 goals. In Dorofeyev, I think I said his name correctly. I mean, I think that's why Dorofeyev almost had 40 goals, is the fact that Eichel was teeing up him for goals. Just shoot it from all cylinders. Be selfish. I mean, don't not be a team, but be selfish. Shoot the puck. Just shoot the puck as much as you can. Eichel is such a good shot. Use it.
Two goals, 4 points, Eichel against Utah this year.
Yeah. You gotta have more than that. If he has that similar type of stat line against them in the playoffs, they're in deep trouble. Done. Yeah.
All right. That's the western side. We'll go east. And I'm going to start in the Metro because I like having fun and making you wait.
That's fine.
I mean, both of us have to wait for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't mind. It's fine.
But I am going to start with my favorite series of the first round. And it's the Battle of Pennsylvania. Penguins, Flyers, you can't ask for more.
Yeah. In-state rivalry in the playoffs. That's fun. And I mean, look, we talked about the Mammoth, how they had a sneaky good season. What a bounce back year for the Flyers. I think we talked about this before we came on. All of us had the Flyers either at the bottom or near the bottom of the Metro Division. And here they are in the playoffs. What a crazy good year. Travis Konechny, 27 goals. Zegras, 26. Owen Tippett, 28. Mikov, 20. Christian Dvorak, 18. Noah Cates, 18. Bobby Brink, 13 goals. Like, they are getting contributions from a lot of guys. And not to be outdone, Dan Vladar goal has been really effective. 2.42 goals against average with a .906 save percentage. So the Flyers, man, they have just been a huge surprise this year. I remember watching about halfway through the season, and I was like, Philadelphia's in like, I think they were like third in the division. And I was like, I mean, that won't last. And yet here they are. And they're not third in the division, but they were third. Or they were, third division. It's like, wow. I did not expect that at all.
And Nate, I think at the top of the big stories for Philadelphia is how about the redemption year for Trevor Zegras?
For sure. I mean, he's had a year that we all expect from him. Like the name Trevor Zegras, we know the talent, ever since he was in Anaheim. We know what he's able to bring. And 26 goals, 41 assists, 67 points in 81 games. I mean, that's great. He's playing his role well. Almost was the leader in points. Travis Konechny's got him by 1. But yeah, Zegras, this is what Philadelphia wanted to get out of him, and they're finally getting the reward for getting him from Anaheim. He's been great. Konechny, as we just mentioned, has been great. Owen Tippett almost had 30 goals this year. One thing that I wanted to talk about too is they shot up in the standings and were able to get the playoff spot because it was getting dicey towards the end there, whether they were going to make it or whether one of these other teams that just missed out was going to get there. Islanders were in that conversation, Columbus. But I really thought they were potentially going to be cooked when the Michkov Tocchet stuff was happening.
Yeah.
Because those two were not getting along. You have your young star who you drafted and was, supposed to be one of the biggest faces of the future. And he's not getting along with a guy who, Tocchet played for Philly, and his resume speaks for itself, how he was as a player and, what he's been able to be. He's been, a few different places as a coach. And I really wondered if that was going to spin their season out of control, because when you have one of your key players not getting along with your head coach, that's hard to not have that be a distraction in the locker room.
That's usually a death sentence.
Oh, for sure. And the fact that they were able to kind of put that on, I'm trying to remember when that I'm trying to remember when that whole thing happened. That was pre-Olympics, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I'm pretty sure. I think a lot of teams probably don't do this. I think ownership must have stepped in. Have we heard about it? No, but ownership must have stepped in and just sat these two down, and it must have just been like, all right, we've had enough. Sit down, figure it out.
I'm sure the Olympic break also helped with that as well.
So that's where
even though Tocchet was there for Team Canada.
So for the Olympic break, we're seeing in multiple instances, and I don't know how much we're really going to talk about Columbus on this podcast, but you're seeing for those who understand what I'm talking about with their bonus and his
he lit into him.
His last post game, talking about, and he talked a little bit when he ranted about how after the Olympic break, basically how they responded after they were back from the Olympic break and how it wasn't good enough. You see the other side of it with Philadelphia, where that break kind of hit in a good spot for them, where they were able to take it back and, reset, and, everything that happened between Tocchet and Michkov, whether ownership got involved or not, they were able to put that aside, and they were able to go on a run post-Olympics, and they were able to get there by the skin of their teeth, but doesn't really matter if it's game 82 or if it's game 70. When you clinch, you got it, and that's what matters there.
And we talk about the youth of them. We got the experience of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Returning for the first time in a couple of years. Crosby had another phenomenal year. And a resurgent year from Erik Karlsson, too. This is going to be a fun matchup. Who do you like, Nate?
For me, I'm going to go with the veterans here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. One thing when talking about the Penguins is, so many people were saying, "Oh, Crosby just needs one more run." The big trio of Crosby, Malkin, and Letang, they just need one more playoff series, one more before they go out into the they ride out into the sunset, as the saying goes, and they're going to get that. Even if you want to put Erik Karlsson in there, which they haven't, it's really been those three, just because those have been Pittsburgh-centric, lifelong Penguins. But they're finally getting that last playoff shot, potentially the last playoff shot, and I think just Crosby's still good, 74 points. Karlsson, Letang. Malkin, obviously, Mantha had 33 goals this year. Rust almost had 30 himself.
Talk about a year, Anthony Mantha. Jesus.
I'm going to butcher his name. It's Igor
Shenikov?
Yes.
The Columbus kid.
Yeah, and we knew, I think during the offseason, I think was that he wanted a trade,
He
and
requested
it
a trade
didn't
last year.
and it didn't happen right away for him, but he was finally able to get the change of scenery he was looking for. 21 goals, 21 assists for 42 points in 72 games. He looks like he's going to be a solid producer for them. He's only going to get better as he gets older. Some of these younger guys, Ben Kindle, 17 goals and 18 assists. He's a younger guy, but he's going to be, if he can, ease into the playoffs, he's going to be some nice depth for them on the forward position. So and look, I think Philadelphia will be fine in the long term. They're a younger team. They're going up against some vets here that, have a couple cups under their belt. And a couple of them have played 1,000+ games. So they'll be fine in the long term. I think it's just experience is going to prevail here, and I've got them in. I think 6. Philadelphia will get a couple wins here, but I think it's going to be Pittsburgh in 6.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh as well. I do think the experience kind of holds them up here. I will say we've talked about it all podcast, and I think it should be mentioned in every single series. If there's one question I have about Pittsburgh, it's gonna be who's starting in goal. I'm gonna guess it's Silvos or
I would actually
Sil-
presume it's Stuart Skinner.
You think Stuart Skinner? Okay,
I'm going to say Skinner.
But I will say, when we talk about that, I think Vladar has had a really good year. So if he keeps that up, I think Philadelphia gives Pittsburgh a bit more of a problem than they thought they would get. But I do think Crosby, Tang, Carlson, I think that experience is going to win out here. But I will say Philadelphia gets 3. I'll take Pittsburgh in 7.
Wow. I'm going Pittsburgh too. I'm gonna go with Nate. Pittsburgh in 6.
My guess is going to be Skinner, by the way, too.
I think Pittsburgh, the experience pays off. All right. I'm going to do the second one in the Metro quickly. That way we could do a little bit more time with your guys. That way we're not here too long. We got Carolina, who's won the Metro and really won the Eastern Conference. They're the best in the East. They're playing an Ottawa team that's red hot coming in. And no, you talked about an upset earlier. I don't think there's a team in the playoffs under more pressure than Carolina this year.
Yep.
The sad thing is, I think this is where an upset happens. I think the Sens get them in the first round. I don't love this matchup for Carolina. Allmark has the ability to steal games. You want to talk about depth? Brady Tkachuk, Stutzla, Drake Batherson, Norris. Oh, by the way, the back end, Jake Sanderson's turning into a stud. Thomas Chabot. I love what Ottawa has done. They were at the bottom of the standings in January. They've turned it around since the break. They're the team in the Eastern Conference. I don't care if you're Carolina, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Tampa Bay. I don't care if you're the 2002 Detroit Red Wings. Right now, you don't want to play the Ottawa Senators. I think the Sens pull off the upset. Ottawa in 7.
Wow. All right. I do think you have a very good point, Mike. I think if there's any first round matchup where we could see or it might be harder. Like I said, I took the Mammoth. You taking this one? I can see your point. I think this is the other one I would have a little bit of hesitancy for. I am still going to go the Carolina Hurricanes, though. I'm going to take the Carolina Hurricanes in. I'm going to go 7. I do think Ottawa can really make it interesting here. I'm going to say, though, I think the big difference here is going to be Carolina has one of the top 5 power plays in the league. Ottawa's got one of the bottom 5 penalty kills. So if you're Ottawa, you cannot give the Hurricanes power plays. If you do, you're just going to shoot yourself in the foot. So I think with that being said, I am still going to go Carolina in 7.
Well, here's one thing too, is that with the being the postseason, less stuff might get called. So that adds another layer to it. Oh, I this is almost like the Minnesota Dallas series where it's like, yeah, no, this is going 7. That's the most thing I'm confident about with this series. I'm gonna stick with Noah in this, and I'm gonna say Carolina in 7. I do think that Ottawa is very dangerous, and I would not be surprised if Ottawa comes out of this. Stutzel, I mean, it can't be said enough. 34 goals, 49 assists, 83 points. Batherson had 33 goals and 71 points. Dylan Cousins, because I think, do they also still have Nick Cousins on there?
Cousins.
Yeah. Nick Cousins is still there. Yeah, so Dylan Cousins, 28 goals, 31 assists, 59 points. Had a great year for them. We haven't even gotten to their captain yet. Like I said, 22 goals, 59 points in 60 games. Jake Sanderson's so good for them. 14 goals, 40 assists for 54 points. And Ullmark, I mean, when Ullmark is on his game, he crushes it. I mean, there's a reason why when he was in Boston, he won the Vezina, because when he's on his game, he is as dangerous as anybody in the league in net. But we'll see what he's able to do. We'll see if he's on his game for them. For me, though, going to Carolina, I just think that, Ottawa's going to get more good, solid playoff experience, and I think that's going to make them more dangerous down the road. They're a younger team. I just think with Jarvis and Svechnikov and Ehlers and Aho and Taylor Hall and Stankoven and Gostisbehere, I just think that, it's going to be a hard-fought battle, and I just think Carolina's going to find a way to figure it out and be on top here. And Brandon Bussey has just been so good for them.
New York kid, Brandon Bussey.
He's just 31 wins, 6 losses, and 2 overtime. So 31 wins, and he's 31 wins and 39 starts. He's a rookie. And he's not even going to win the Rookie of the Year because of what Schaefer was able to do for the Islanders.
Whoa. Oh, yeah, probably.
Well, I mean, what Schaefer was able to do, he's already proven that he's going to be a generational defenseman. He's going to probably win like a billion Norris trophies.
By the way, the last time the Islanders said they had a generational pick at number 1 overall, his name was Rick DiPietro. I don't know if they're still paying him or not.
Yeah, I'm sure it wouldn't actually be Denny Potvin.
I didn't say defenseman. Remember, I didn't say defenseman.
Yeah, well, and then John Tavares. We don't bring up John Tavares either. So.
Oh, you mean Buddy Peck's favorite player of all time?
Yeah, no. But I think, and Bussey is going to be.
So you would start Bussey over Anderson?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You have to. And I know he doesn't have.
If he does have a bad game, you could turn to Anderson.
You can. I just, and that's going to be. I mean, it's so easy to have goaltending as the X factor, but like, he's a rookie, so he doesn't have that experience in the playoffs. It's another level. But also, if, I don't know, he just seems so confident. And it's so hard to beat him. So if he's able to turn it another level, but that's so that he is an X factor while he's been as dominant as he's been in the regular season, we got to see what he's able to do here. And this is a tough team to be going up against your first playoff series.
Yeah, this is not going to be fun. But this will be fun for us. All right. Here's what I'm going to do for your series. I'm going to let you guys go off for a few minutes, and then we'll just jump right into the prediction part.
Okay.
So, Nate, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Talk about
hold
the
on.
Sabres Bruins series, and then we'll get into the prediction.
Wait. Because you can, if Noah's ready, Noah can go first.
All right, no, if
All
you want to
right.
go first, you're more than welcome. I was
All
trying to
right.
do this.
No. I'll take the lead here. I mean, go ahead, Mike.
I'm going to time you for the 2 minutes.
All right. Well,
Wait.
okay.
One quick thing. Is he going to do? Are we both doing that series first, and then we'll get to mine, or is it?
No, he's
doing
going to cover it from Montreal. You'll cover the Sabres, and then we'll jump into
and then we can talk about each other's series.
Yeah.
Well, no. Right. Exactly.
All right. I mean, yeah. What can I say about Montreal this year? I predicted them to be third in the division, and sure enough, they were third in the division. They've had a fantastic year. Nick Suzuki, I don't care what anybody says. Nick Suzuki should be respected as a top 5 center in this league. He is so good. He knows how to run this offense. 29 goals, 72 assists for 101 points, broke the 100-point barrier. Cole Caulfield, second most goals in the league this year, 51 goals. The ascension of Cole Caulfield as an elite goal scorer continues, and I could not be happier to see this. But also, they have been getting so many contributions from guys stepping up. Lane Hudson continues his ascension from winning the Calder last year to 66 assists. These most assists by a Montreal Canadian in their first 2 seasons. Fastest to 100 assists in 150 in their first games. He has just been on fire. And I think Noah Dobson been fantastic in the trade from the Islanders. Oliver Kapanen has been great as well. He's been a great depth piece. And there's just so many great depth pieces. Zach Bolduc has 30 points. Alex Newhook has 25 points. Jake Evans has 24 points. Josh Anderson. I have to gush about one guy right now, and that is Juraj Slafkovsky. He looks like the number 1 pick we took a couple years ago. He finally is he goes on a couple years kind of not at the best, but then he goes this year, takes the Olympic break, performs really well in the Olympics. And what can I say about Juraj Slafkovsky? 30 goal scorer, 43 assists for 73 points total. He has been one of the biggest reasons that I think we have been scoring at the rate that we are. So yeah, just the ascension of Montreal has just been a sight to see, and I cannot wait for them to play in this series.
So that was your 2 minutes, Nate. I'm going to give you your 2, and then we'll do the predictions very quickly. Let me get the timer up.
Let me know what's going.
Go now.
All right. So, where to start? I can't believe that I'm talking about Buffalo Sabres playoff hockey for the first time in 15 years.
It's not butter.
The fact that in December, here's one thing that I'll say. I said back in September that the team is not going to be better until Kevin Adams is gone. Now, did I think it was going to be this quick of a turnaround? Absolutely not. And I think when Adams was let go and Jarmo Kekalainen took over, Kekalainen said it, and the team said it too. He walked into the locker room in his first day and he goes, if you guys aren't going to work, you're gone. It's that simple. You got to work. And they absolutely turned it around. They won 10 games in a row in December. They won 8 games in a row out of the Olympic break. A lot of people were worried that maybe they'd fall off after the Olympic break, and they just turned it to another level. Tage Thompson, 40-goal season. He's done that multiple times. He's been great. Point per game pace, 81 points in 81 games. Dahlin, this guy should absolutely win the Masterton Award for everything. And I know there's other great candidates, but the summer that he went through with his fiance needing to get heart surgery, a heart transplant, and losing a kid in the process. I don't want to get into too much into the personal stuff, but they did share this information with everybody. Just having to overcome that and to play hockey and to be away from Herc because she was still recovering in Sweden. You know, the players talked about when he went to go visit her for a little bit and then he came back with the team. It's had already been 2 minutes.
That was your 2 minutes. I'm going to let you finish your point.
Okay. I just very quickly, 19 goals, 55 assists for 74 points. He has overcome so much. He is the heart and soul of the team. The fact that anyone would be playing hockey during any of that stuff. I don't know how anyone could focus on anything other than their significant other and their, what they went through. But there's just been so many storylines and so many guys that I could go over, but he has been such a leader for the team. 19 goals, 55 assists for 74 points. Chris Pronger had him in the Norris conversation. I don't know if he's going to win it, but he definitely deserves to be in it. And
the same thing with the Norris is there's like 9 guys we could talk about for the Norris.
One other guy I want to say real quickly, Josh Doan has been such a great player for them. 25 goals. Yeah, Josh Doan, 25 goals, 27 assists for 52 points. The locker room, the room hadn't changed that much from last season, but he's a guy in the Peterka trade who he's absolutely, he's only going to get better. He's 24, I believe. And I think he's such a great two-way forward.
All right. So if you don't know, the Sabres are playing the Bruins in the first round. The Canadians are playing the Lightning. I want one name from both of you. Who's the player you're the most concerned about on the other team?
For me, play with the Canadians playing the Lightning, it's easy enough, and that's Nikita Kucherov.
Okay.
Nikita Kucherov's had another amazing season. He to me is at that level of like the McKinnons and the McDavids of he can overtake he can overtake a series. Mm-hmm. Because I do truly think when you look at the Lightning as a team, I do think that usually what we talk about is the Lightning depth. To me, there is still depth on this team, but there isn't like we used to see. Like,
by the way, no, I don't know if you know this about the Lightning, but they employ Nate's cousin on the blue line.
They do employ.
It's not actually my cousin, but
and do employ Nate. But like, and here's the thing: Jake Gensel's great, Braden Hagel's great. But after that, I think you just start seeing guys who are either just kind of good or I don't know. We haven't seen much from them this year. Like Oliver Bjorkstrand hasn't been crazy good this year. Yanni Gord, usually really good, but he's at a -6. I know it's single digits, but still, I think when you look at this series, I look at Nikita Kucherov, and I think for Montreal, if you can shut Nikita Kucherov down or at least slow him down, I think this series goes to Montreal.
Okay, so Kucherov, you're your player to watch for Tampa. Who wins how many games?
I'm gonna take the Canadians in 7.
Okay.
I think the goaltending for Montreal can keep them in the game. I think this team is talented enough to get goals past Vasilevsky, and I think the goal scoring can outpace Nikita Kucherov. I think I'm gonna go Montreal in 7.
All right, Nate. Who would be your X factor for the Lightning, and then who wins?
Okay, so X factor for the
Lightning, Canadians, and then we'll go into who wins, and then we'll do the same thing with the Sabres.
Okay, so you want me to pick an X factor for both teams?
No, just for Tampa Bay.
Just for Tampa?
Yeah, because Noah kind of went over Montreal.
Right. So X factor. So who to worry about on Montreal for Tampa?
Who to worry about from Tampa on Montreal?
You want me to pick a Tampa player?
Tampa player.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to double check.
Go ahead.
No. I mean, he said Kucherov. I kind of agree. Like, that's just
Okay.
kind of, he is absolutely insane. He has
Yeah.
130 points in 76 games. Like, he is just unstoppable. And like someone said in like 41 games or something, he had like 100 points or something. Like, it was something completely insane. Like, he is just so good, and he is the face of that team. And they've got a lot of great other players, and Noah touched on it. Gensel's great too, playoff experience with Pittsburgh and everything like that. But Kucherov for me is the easy choice. And you could also go Vasilevsky, but I'm going to go with Kucherov just because of how dominant he is, point production wise.
Okay, and who do you like?
I'm going to go Montreal in 7.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go the X factor of Darren Rash, who had a phenomenal year, 14 goals on the blue line. But here's the other reason why. We don't know the status of Victor Hedman.
Yep.
That's massive here. But I'm going to be the odd man out because I think the experience, I'm going to take Tampa. I'm going to take Tampa in 6 because I think that championship pedigree is back.
I just think for Montreal, I just think, with them being younger and stuff like that, and they've been on, there was a chance they could have won this division at the very end. I mean, they were winning like 7 and 8 in a row or whatever. And like, they're so young, and they're going to be dominant for like 10, 15 years. I mean, they're going to be a problem, and, I just think that it's going 7. I think that for me, that feels pretty obvious. Yeah.
Who's the Bruin? You know what? Let me forget what I'm saying. Talk about why you fear David Pastrnak the most.
He wasn't the guy I was going to pick.
Oh, okay. Then I thought you were going to pick Pastrnak.
No, and I understand why. I mean, he's a consistent 100-point scorer. I'm going to go Swayman because Swayman has had the Sabres number in the past. We haven't really been able to crack them. And most of the time we've played Boston this year, I think Korpisalo's been in net.
Swayman had 1 start.
And he probably won. What was the score of that game? I think it was probably in like October.
He made 25 saves on 28 shots.
Okay. Well, here's one thing that I'll say. We played Boston a lot early in the year. So there's like an X factor of not really knowing what the team's going to look like now that they've kind of turned things around a little bit. But Swayman for me is the X factor here because he's one of the best in the league, and you got to get him off his game. I think in his career he's like 3-1-1 or something against the Sabres, so not a big
8-1-1.
Oh well, okay. Well, that proves my point even
goals
further.
against 2, goals against under 2 rather.
You got to figure him out. You gotta figure him out. That's why it's easy to go with Pasta. You gotta figure Swayman out.
All right. How many games does it take the Sabres to win?
I am picking them to win.
I know. That's why
I think it'll be 6.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if it went 7. I'm gonna go 6.
All right. No, who would be a player to watch for you from Boston? How many games does this go?
All right. So you guys touched on a couple of players, but I am going to look at – I think if you are the Buffalo Sabres, I think one guy you need to watch out for is Pavel Zacha. So far in this year against the Sabres, 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. And not only that, he has made, I think, big impacts in the games against Buffalo. He had one of the games he had a game-winning goal to beat Buffalo so far earlier this year. So obviously Pastrnak will be great, but I think when you get down lower on that depth chart, it's going to be because this is to me another series of you've got the 1 star in Pastrnak. And I don't think Buffalo has that star yet, but their depth is better. But if the depth of Boston can keep up with Buffalo, I think this becomes a very interesting series.
I mean, I know he hasn't hit 100 points, or like even gotten 50 goals. He's been close, but I think Tage, to an extent, can match, at least in a series. But
In a series.
On the rails.
No, who do you like?
I am going to take the Sabres. I'm going to take the Sabres in 7, and I truly think this is it is going, like, Nate, your heart's not going to be able to take this, but it's going to be this to me screams going into the third period of Game 7. It's tied 2-2.
Oh yeah, no,
I
definitely think that I wouldn't surprise if this went 7, like, at all.
This is a dogfight.
It's going to be tight.
So what you're saying is you need dogs.
Yeah,
and I'm going back to the blue line because I know a guy who's a dog on the blue line for the Boston Bruins. His name's Charlie McAvoy. He's a guy I would watch for in this series if he has a big impact. I think this is tight. I want to pick the Sabres, but I also want to piss off Nate.
I mean,
so
pick whatever you think, man.
I'm going to take the Bruins in 7. I just think this is going to be tight. But I do think Swayman is a real big difference maker here. But I'm going to take Boston. They have the experience. This should be a fun series.
This will
be a fun first round.
Yeah, the first round this year, like, there's a lot of series where it's like we just went over, like, oh man, like that series could go either way. I mean, the entire East could go anyway. We just talked about it.
It should be fun. Everyone enjoy. We'll recap it at some point. Great to have the boys back together, though.
Yeah,
for sure.
Look, like, comment, subscribe here to the YouTube channel. Podcast version will be released on all podcast platforms. Follow the socials. Go to the website, thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. For Moser, for Noah, I'm Mike. We'll talk to you all next time here on the Breakaway Bandits podcast, Sports Insanity